Wilson pulls the trigger.
Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am oh so excited to talk to you guys and gals about yesterday's awesome game from Mike effin' White. Jets are 7-4. I want to hear from you. That's right. Tonight's the call-in show, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. 8:30 is when we're going to start taking phone calls. You'll get 3 minutes on the clock, but after 3 minutes...
That's it! You're out of here!
That's right, you're going to get the chicken. So make sure you have your ideas concise and you have everything dialed in so I don't eject you from the cockpit. Topics we want to mainly harp on. We can go over anything you guys want to talk about. Thoughts on Mike White and his performance from yesterday, as well as could he be the answer to our quarterback questions for 2023? What happens overall with this whole situation? There's a lot of things going on. We talk about a whole bunch of stuff. But overall, I'm really happy with what we got out of Mike and what we got out of this team and where this team could possibly be headed. It's amazing, this roller coaster that we're on each week. We're at this high before the first Patriot game. We're like, oh, we're going to stomp them. It's finally our time. It's at home. We're going to make the crowd loud. You know, they got a backup center. And then it comes crashing down. And then we beat the Bills and we're riding high for 2 weeks going into the bye. And then it crashes down again when we face the Patriots. And we're back up again facing the Bears. I'm enjoying the roller coaster with you guys. It's fun. Welcome to the show. Akiva, C, Matt B, Twisted, Mitt Flair, Squirmy, Harlan, Zachary Alford, Zachary Burner. I see Omar, Big Bear, Junior, Ethan, Dakota, James, Ant, King Blaze, Muskaman, Furious Grim. Thank you guys for dropping in. Make sure you hit that like button on your way in. And yeah, let's go into it. Let's start talking a little bit of, the last few days. Hope you guys all had a very happy Thanksgiving. Had a bunch of good food. As you can see, you're tricked out for the holidays already. Got it, right? As soon as Thanksgiving's over, it's better than after Halloween, I guess. All right. Let's get into it. I want to give you my thoughts overall on the game and some of the things that have kind of been coming out. So, first off, really great game from Mike White. Robert Saleh said after the game, he did the easy stuff. He took what the defense gave him. He didn't try to play, be Superman or anything like that. And as I'm listening to each of the comments, it's hard not to take those as slight jabs at Zach. And I don't think they're necessarily intended to, but it's like, oh, he can do the easy stuff. It's like, okay, well, you're sort of implying that Zach Wilson can't do the easy stuff, which, let's be honest, he hasn't been able to. So it is what it is. But I like what we got out of Mike White. And this team was excited. The energy was there. The energy was all over the place. Seeing guys jump up and down. Elijah Moore gets involved. Garrett Wilson has his best day since, Joe Flacco. Just awesome to see. Everyone get involved. 10 receiving targets. 10 players caught a pass from Mike White. 10 different players. Zach Wilson had 9 completions just a week ago. Total. I still can't get over that stat. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, Zach Wilson could have had that kind of game against the Bears. The Bears are 30th in DVOA. And, Zach could have done that. There's no reason to have Mike White out there right now. Like, you didn't invest all the money into him. This is, it's kind of ridiculous. You look at, you're grading Zach based on his performance against the Patriots last week. They're like the number 1 defense in DVOA. Okay, you want to play that? What happened to the other games with Zach Wilson? We've seen 20 games from this dude. And we haven't seen a performance like that. He has 1 300-yard game to his name, and we lost. Mike White's got 2 in 4 starts. Who cares where we get the quarterback from? I don't care. I just want a quarterback. Doesn't suck we burnt a number 2 overall pick in the event that Zach winds up not being the guy. Yeah, that really sucks. That's not a fun way to find your franchise quarterback. But if you're asking me if I would have traded a number 2 overall pick and a 5th round pick to move up to number 1 to get my quarterback and select Mike White, I would have. I would have given up number 2 and a 5th round pick to get a franchise quarterback. Who knows? Maybe that's where Mike White's headed. Maybe this is just a little flash in the pan. Maybe this is the fun that we had last year against the Bengals. Maybe that's all gonna, fizzle out by the time we play our next game. But Mike White in the rain yesterday had a better game than any day from Zach Wilson. And he did make the easy stuff look easy. That's what pro quarterbacks should do. When I'm watching Zach Wilson, you can see the talent pop off the page. You can see the speed. You can see the elusiveness. You can see the arm strength. But he makes the easy stuff look so hard. Like, I've never seen someone struggle so hard to complete a 5-yard pass consistently. Mike White, sure, he doesn't have the ridiculous arm strength. Zach Wilson's got one of the hardest throws in the NFL, if not like the hardest that the NFL's ever seen. Or at least since they've been grading miles per hour. I think he has the fastest throw. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty positive. He doesn't have the speed of Zach Wilson. But he has the confidence of the coaches, he has the confidence of the locker room, and he has the confidence of the fan base. Like, everyone's behind him. When you start hearing Mike White in the stands, or you start hearing MVP, like, I love it. I love it. The backup quarterback, especially in New York, is always the popular guy in the room, right? And it's a lot of the times it's because we haven't had a real great quarterback, so everyone's like fantasizing about what the backup could do. Well, Mike White, on 2 separate occasions in his first 4 games, has thrown for over 300 yards. And he stopped throwing it basically in the 4th quarter. He could have easily had over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like, that's the kind of performance we were on track for. Bears weren't stopping us. No way. The first quarter was a little rocky. I think they probably expected Justin Fields. Defense wasn't quite up to snuff yet. Maybe they had a little too much gravy and stuffing. Coming out a little lethargic. Yeah, I think that could be it. But then they locked it down. Pitched a shutout. Basically the entire game after that. It's awesome stuff. And you think about like just a fraction of what we got from Mike White yesterday. If you can get even the easy stuff completed, I'm not talking about like 300 yards and that sort of stuff. Like obviously the Garrett Wilson second touchdown where Eddie Jackson, got hit by the sniper right in the what was it, the ankle, the Achilles. Hopefully, nothing too serious with him. I don't know what wound up coming from that, but obviously a little goofy with him running past a player that's just like holding his ankle on the ground. That's not going to happen all the time. But Mike White had some nice throws, and his arm strength's better than I gave him credit for. Last year, I gave him a bunch of crap after that Bengal game because everything was within like 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. There was still a lot of that. Like his primary targets are still the tight ends and the running backs, but those are the high completion throws. That's the guys that get you the 4, the 5, the 6 yards consistently. And then when the defense is lulled to sleep and they're trying to worry about all these little, 4 and 5 yard passes, you crack them over the top with a 15-yarder, with a 20-yarder. You throw a nice little 30-yard pass to Elijah Moore for a touchdown. Our most talented players on this offense: Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, Conklin, Uzoma, Corey Davis, Mims, Berrios. Those are the guys you want to get the ball. The more opportunities those players have with the ball in their hands, the better this team can be. The higher the ceiling for this team can be. With Zach Wilson, he couldn't get the ball to his playmakers' hands. As exciting as Zach may be, if you can't spread the ball around like that, like how many times have we seen him force feed the ball to Corey Davis? I like me some Corey Davis. But by spreading the ball around the way that Mike White did, the defense cannot key in on specific players. You can hit them all over the field now. You're scanning the entire field. You don't know where this is going to come from. Like a little behind the scenes action here. I probably should have turned off my phone number for this one. Do that because we're not doing the calls yet. But yes. Sorry, it's bright. Yes. Mike White is able to make the easy stuff work. He's able to complete the easy passes. He's able to get the most out of his playmakers. Then you're... Sorry about that. You don't wind up having the consistent headaches that are, I didn't get the ball. Oh, I don't know what chemistry I have with the quarterback because I don't see the ball. Like Elijah Moore, he's already happy. He's excited. He's having a good time now. Obviously, he's getting looked at. He's clearly a better player than what we've seen while Zach was out there. Eddie McGuire says Ryan just got Mike Whited. Oh, God. See, that's the thing. I'm playing with this little side camera here, but it's right in line with my key light. Probably not ideal. But yeah, when I see Mike White, I see the type of offense that just infuriated me with New England for the longest time. It was Tom Brady throwing the little dinks and dunks all the way down the field. It's death by short pass. Those short passes are essentially run plays with more opportunity for yak because you're not running straight into the defensive line. And I do like our running game. When you're able to complete passes and now guys can't key in on the run, that's when everything opens up. What do we have, 150 some odd yards yesterday? That's awesome. Michael Carter apparently has a low ankle sprain. So I guess that's considered like a week-to-week kind of thing. Seems like it won't be missing too much time. Let me see. I saw a super chat in here. Everaldo dropped in. He says, stressful game when Zach quarterbacks. No stress with Mike White. Yeah, I completely agree. And White almost said something similar to that in the huddle or in his post-game presser where he's like, when I'm in the huddle, I try to be a calming presence. And it helps the rest of the guys focus on their job. When I'm sitting at home, his calmness helps me stay calm. You watch him just slowly slide left, slowly slide right. He's not running around like Zach Wilson, but he could be just as elusive with his short little steps forward, his side steps, his little rollouts. These are the things that prevent you from getting sacked, but still allow you to throw the ball down the field. These were the things that Zach Wilson was not able to kind of key in on. And when he did go out, he was always trying to make that home run play. You don't have to hit the home run play. It's okay to get 4 yards on first down. It's okay to get 4 yards on second down. You don't need the 25-yard gain, the 35-yard gain, every throw that you make. You don't need to be on ESPN on the highlight reel because when you do that, a lot of times you wind up going on the highlight reel the other direction with an interception. But yeah, I completely agree. Super stressful watching Zach play quarterback. Hex says, if White cleaned up the turnovers / issues he had last year, he might be our franchise. Call me crazy. Now remember, the number one defense last year was Buffalo. We had no weapons when Mike White played Buffalo. I'm excited to see what this upcoming week and the next week. These are the two big games for me, Minnesota and Buffalo. The Jets should be able to hang with Minnesota. You look at the game they had with the Patriots. You look at how they lost to Dallas. This defense can have the ball moved on them. Mike White's going to be able to get us points. This offense that we're going against with the Vikings might be the best offense that we've faced from a multifaceted standpoint. What I mean by that is Josh Allen is incredibly elite. Stefon Diggs is incredibly elite, but I'm not overly concerned about their running game. I'm concerned about Allen running. But with Minnesota, you got Dalvin Cook, you got Thielen, you got Justin Jefferson, which is going to be an incredible matchup. This is probably going to be the best test for our secondary since the Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle game with Miami. Now, unfortunately, that game has a little asterisk next to it because we were facing their third-string quarterback. So, this to me is the big test. You got two big-time weapons at wide receiver, and you have a nice, really nice option out of the backfield. Can the Jets linebackers contain those screen passes? Can we start making a tackle? Are you guys as frustrated as I am? How many missed tackles did we see? We gave up far more yardage after contact than I would have ever thought we'd give up. But yeah, if Mike White can turn the ball over less, remember, I think he had 4 interceptions in that Buffalo game. What do you wind up going? 4 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year. So if you eliminate those 4 and 4 is not too bad for 3 starts. I mean, you look at the game he had against Indianapolis. I think he had 2 drives, had 95 yards and a touchdown before he got injured and pulled from the game. That could have very easily been a win as well. Trey Yoder says, fire Gase. I love it. Screw Gase. I want to talk a little bit about the running back situation in addition to all this, because I saw some of you guys talking about it in the chat, and the ability to have multiple running backs. We brought up Bam Knight this past week, and Robinson was supposedly a healthy scratch. Now, my understanding is they did not want to deactivate Denzel Mims. Corey Davis was just coming back, so there's kind of that weird, like, okay, who should be there? Maybe if Corey Davis isn't ready to go, Mims steps in. And you saw both of them kind of, I don't know what their snap count was, but it seemed like both were on the field pretty consistently throughout the day. So, we did not activate Jeff Smith. Jeff Smith plays special teams. You know who plays special teams? Bam Knight. So we got to see Bam Knight in there. Not to mention a team like the Bears that gives up a ton of running yards. We don't necessarily want Robinson to have a ton of running yards. And honestly, I'm okay with, not running him quite as much. I'd run Ty Johnson, Bam Knight, save yourself the pick. But in the event you have an injury, I like Robinson. I got no issues with him. If we have to sacrifice a 5th, so be it. It's okay. Michael Carter going down with the ankle injury. I'm curious to see who starts. Is it going to be Robinson next week? Or are they going to try and let Ty Johnson and Bam Knight have a little bit of action? I'll tell you what, Bam Knight's exciting. Dude's fast. He puts his foot in the ground, one cut up the field. That's a Shanahan running back. That's why they like that. I hope we get to see a little bit more of him. Stifler's mom says, I don't think Zach can win this locker room back over again. Better off getting what we can for him. What do you accept for Zach if you had to? We would need to accept something so much higher because of his dead cap hit. It's worth more for us to hold him on the roster in the event that whoever's quarterbacking for us next year gets hurt. We have that option to go back to Zach. And I think at the very least, you hope that he progresses over the course of the next year. I agree. I don't think the confidence in Zach is going to be there. I'm not sure how he wins that confidence back, if he can win that confidence back. My dad always told me, you only get one shot to make a first impression. And now, obviously, he's played in 20 games. He's had countless training camp reps and all that good stuff. But it doesn't seem like this team is really a big fan of him, as far as like the players on the team. So what would you get for Zach? Zach actually would cost you a ton of money in a trade because his signing bonus hits you. So you'd actually, instead of paying him $9 million for next year, like a $9 million cap hit, you would actually have like a 20 some odd $1 million cap hit. You'd save like $2 million because of the money that you wouldn't have to, I guess, pay out, but it doesn't make any sense to trade him. Now, if you want to trade him halfway through next year at the trade deadline because a quarterback goes down or because someone's got some hope for him or even after the season next year, I'm cool with that. No problems whatsoever. Totally make that move. What would I accept for him? Would you give me a 3rd round pick for Zach? It sucks, that investment. second overall pick, his value is going to be to a team that wants him, I would say even after the June 1st deadline. So not that June 1st is a deadline, but if you trade a player after June 1st, their salary cap hit from being traded spreads over 2 years. So it hits 2023 and then 2024 at that point. So the Jets could move him after that June 1st deadline, which might be the way to go because this is before training camp. You don't have that kind of maybe distraction. And then maybe you give a team a full year to diagnose Zach and determine if they want to then exercise his fifth-year option. I think that's where the value in Zach lies. The other option is you hold on to him and you have insurance, right? Someone could always get hurt. We've seen it happen. I mean, heck, Zach almost got knocked out for the season in our first preseason game. Would have ruined our season. Now, maybe you hold on to Zach through training camp. You try to fluff him up in the preseason, make him look really good. See if you can get a second-round pick. Why not? If you get a second-round pick for Zach, that's a win. Because at this point, I don't think he's going to provide a whole lot of value. Now, I did see some comments and some pictures. I don't know if you guys saw this. There was a still shot of the Jets quarterback sitting on the bench, and everyone had an iPad in their hand with the exception of Zach. And it was a really shitty thing to do for whoever posted that image initially with the caption. Because there is, like 5 seconds later, if you go and look at the screenshot, there's a screenshot right next to it. I retweeted it. You guys can see it. Just 5 seconds earlier, he's on the iPad. So someone's trying to steer a narrative about Zach, and I don't like that. Because I don't want to attack his character. I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he's not super relatable. I think that's where people come from. I feel like people felt like he wasn't, ready for the NFL. He needed to sit. He got handed the job. And I think that's where the resentment for Zach comes in. And then obviously just making a lot of mistakes, that doesn't help either. But what could we get back for him? I would love to try and get a second-round pick. Based on the way he's played, would I trade a second-round pick for the 32nd overall or 33rd overall quarterback in the league? No, I wouldn't. But if there's a team that has an aging vet that wants to roll the dice, why not? I would say for our team it doesn't make sense, but there could be a team out there that it does. A team that could be in the playoffs. I don't know, offhand who that could be. But I think there's some opportunities. Maybe the Colts. Who knows? I don't know what picks they have, but maybe they get interested. Matt Ryan's probably not the answer. We'll see. Lloyd says, White's 4 interceptions against the Bills last year were during his third start ever against the number 1 defense. That game is overrated. Yeah, I don't want to put too much stock in that game, just like I didn't want to put too much stock in the Bengal game. Like, it's somewhere in the middle. Now, because we've had 2 games similar to the Bengal game, now I think you can argue, okay, well, it's closer to the other end. That's why these next 2 games are going to be important. A lot of people are going to say, hey, this is like a 5th-round pick, a guy you got from Dallas who was cut. Why are you going to invest so much into this guy? Why are you going to try and make him the franchise quarterback? There's a lot of quarterbacks that have been good over the years that have not been drafted in the first round. Kaepernick, Wilson, Cousins, Brady. It does happen. Is it unlikely? Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely unlikely that he could be a franchise quarterback. And that's not Mike White's fault. I don't blame people for thinking that about Mike White, because that is the bias that comes with having hundreds of quarterbacks over years and years of NFL drafts that haven't panned out in that draft pick range. It's not a Zach Wilson, or it's not a Mike White issue. It's a everyone else issue. Mike White's been playing well. So, could he be that? Sure. And I agree with Lloyd here. I don't think you can hang too much stock on that Bills game when he didn't have weapons. I mean, that was a terrible Jet team last year. And with all the injuries, even worse. It was just a shit show. And Mike White looked bad. Mike White is a facilitator. He's not necessarily, at this point, going to win you games solely on his talent. his ability to get the ball into his playmakers' hands, to not make mistakes, to operate the offense. This offense can manufacture completions. That's what was so frustrating about Zach not being able to hit these easy routes. When you take away all the weapons, yeah, okay, then there's going to be an issue. Right now, the Jets have so many weapons, we could go against any team. We can play against any team right now if Mike White plays 75% of the way he played yesterday. This defense can run up against anyone. Brian Bogan says, top 100, where do Sauce, Quinnen, Reed, and Garrett Wilson end up? I would imagine Quinnen is probably higher than Sauce. I know Sauce is the flashy name, so maybe like that recognition and like him being a high draft pick this year, maybe that sort of boosts him higher than I think maybe he should be initially. But I think Quinnen Williams should be near the top of the list. You're probably talking a top 25, top 30 player in the league. He's the best interior defensive lineman this year. Sauce, I think, is going to fall somewhere in the middle. Reed should fall somewhere near Sauce, I would think. Garrett Wilson, I guess it depends how the rest of the season goes for him. I think right now you probably don't include him in the top 100. Now, maybe if you're looking at like, perspective as far as like future goes, sure. I would put Mike White in there, ahead of like, say, like a Tom Brady who might retire or something, like if you're weighing it in that sort of capacity. So I don't know. When's the last time the Jet was in a top 100? Have we had one the last few years? It doesn't feel like we have, at least. New York Jets 24 says Zach Wilson can win over the locker room whenever he returns by winning games. Remember, winning heals all wounds. The Jets will keep Zach. Yes, the Jets are going to hold on to Zach. There's too much invested here. The ownership has put a ton of money into Zach and marketing Zach. Joe Douglas put draft capital into it. Remember this. I don't think I have my years mixed up, but Robert Saleh was with Pete Carroll when they traded from Michael Flynn. Matt Flynn. Gave him a big contract and then drafted Russell Wilson. They went into training camp. They determined Russell Wilson was the better quarterback. They're like, we're going to start Russell Wilson. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? We just traded and signed this dude for a bunch of money. Why would you start, a third, fourth, fifth round guy in Russell Wilson, whatever he was? Because he's the better quarterback. He gives you the best chance to win. We heard rumors this past week that the coaches, the players, felt like Mike White was the best quarterback through training camp. Obviously, they were going to give Zach Wilson a little bit more time, give him an actual training camp, refresh after the season off. Maybe they've seen enough of him. Maybe they haven't. Maybe he does come back and they see him winning. The easiest way for Mike White to keep his job is to continue playing how he's playing right now. They are going to try and find any opportunity to go back to Zach Wilson because of the investments that they've made already. Now, it's not, if Mike White's playing well, they're not going to go back to Zach Wilson. But if Mike White has a 4-interception game against Buffalo, I'm thinking against Detroit, Wilson's probably coming back. I hope that's not how it goes, because I do think he has to earn his teammates' respect back before we just pull Mike White out. I think Mike White has earned himself at least 2 more starts, and then he'll get an additional start for every time he has a good game. And he'll just kind of keep pushing back. They'll give him one oh no, that wasn't a great game. Let's give him one more. Then if it's bad, you figure it out from there. But yeah, if Zach Wilson wants to win back his teammates, the best way to win back his teammates is to win. RJ says, rest in piss. To the coin. So you guys following the coin. Coin was 11-0 for the Jets season. Sorry. I'm rolling with Mike White. Screw the coin. I'm done with the coin. Don't want to hear about the coin anymore. It was cool that it got that far. J-Boy says, White showed all quarterbacks this team is quarterback heaven. That's probably one of the most important things that happened. And I'm interested to see what winds up happening in 2023 if White continues to play in some similar capacity. Do they try to just take a Super Bowl caliber roster? Because that's what we are. We are a Super Bowl caliber roster outside of the quarterback. Who knows? Maybe with Mike White, we are a Super Bowl contender now. But do they rest next year's healthy Breece Hall, AVT, all these guys that are on, cheap contracts right now, do they roll the dice on solely Mike White? I don't think so. I think if Mike White plays well, there's a high chance that Wilson is traded before training camp next year, or near the deadline or something along those lines. But if Mike White does well, I would bring in a quarterback like Gardner Minshew. I feel like for Mike White to take the next step forward, he should be able to beat out Minshew in a quarterback competition. Now remember, Mike White's not under contract. What is Mike White going to ask for money? If he continues to play well, do the Jets let him walk? You're not gonna franchise tag Mike White. I don't think you're not gonna pay him $30-some-odd million. I think you'd probably just go out and get Jimmy G at that point. It's more of a high floor option, as much as you like Mike White. Now, I do think White has respect for the Jets because we plucked him, from Dallas. There's clearly some love for him here. He likes the teammates. He's got everything here. I would like to believe Mike White would sign a contract that allows him to make some good money if he plays well, but allows the Jets to have, a little bit of flexibility. But yeah, Mike White performing well, seeing all the weapons do what they do. You think there's quarterbacks that might be leaving their team, might be thinking about asking for a trade, might be a free agent next year. Everyone's going to be looking at the Jets. I saw on Reddit the other day, they had a post talking about what team is a quarterback away. And they listed a few names just to kind of get the ball rolling. Everyone went back to the New York Jets. They're like, this question seems built to be a New York Jet answer. And I think it's true. I think we can win with average quarterback play. Like if you're getting, let's say, top 13 to top 17 quarterback play consistently, you're going to be able to win some games. You're going to be squarely in the discussion for the playoffs and potentially for a Super Bowl. Brian Bogan says, Zach Wilson needs to learn to trust the offensive line like White does. He's got to learn a lot more than that. He's got to learn how to throw an easy pass, because even if he doesn't trust the offensive line, he's throwing off his back foot, he's running around, he's like just bad mechanics, trying to throw it to Barrios in the flat, can't complete a pass. He's got to learn a lot in addition to earning the respect back. Mike White has the team's confidence. And you saw it based on the play calling too. They didn't try to hide Mike White. They knew the Bears were really weak against the run. Jets did get their own on the running game, but they took care of business through the air. Over 300 yards through 3 quarters. They just took their foot off the gas, like, all right, let's just run the ball now. Just kill the clock, get out of here, we'll move on to Minnesota. I want to see more of that. All right, boys and girls, we have reached that time of the night. We are going to go to our phone lines. You get 3 minutes on the clock. After 3 minutes, you get booted. Going to eject you from the cockpit, so make sure you have your thoughts all aligned. Joe S. comes in and says, if you sign a vet quarterback, you won't have the same team. It's true you won't have the same exact team, but if you're signing a vet quarterback, you can manipulate the cap to give you flexibility. Like there's players that you're probably going to move on from, and that's probably guys like Carl Lawson, Corey Davis, possibly CJ Mosley if he doesn't restructure. There's options. You're going to have the majority of your strong players here. Who we got?
From
Jake.
Hey, what's up, Jake? Welcome to the cockpit.
Good evening, dude. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. How you feeling about yesterday's win?
Beyond ecstatic. Absolutely beyond ecstatic. Like, I actually felt like I watched a complete game of football for 4 quarters unlike another person. Yeah,
I mean, when I'm watching Zach Wilson, it's like, oh, it's painful to get through a game. It's like, I feel like if Zach played yesterday, it would have been like a 17-10 nail biter, and you're just like banging your head against the wall. He'd have like 150 yards.
Yeah. Dude, let's be very honest. Like, even the so-called blowout wins we had with Green Bay and the Dolphins and all these other games, Zach Wilson has not played one complete game of football for 4 quarters. That is a true fact. So all over the media that says, well, he got benched because of the Patriot game, or is that no? He's been benched because of all these games where he made the worst passes in double coverage, triple coverage, dropped interceptions, you name it. So everyone wants to talk about Mike White's game in Buffalo, which, by the way, if you guys watched the game, 4 of the interceptions, 3 of them were tip passes and 1 was forced. Also, he was injured going to that game too. So I want to let's just end that argument completely as dead. He is ready to go into this game this weekend against the Vikings and the Bills game. And I have utmost confidence he can help this team win, without a doubt.
Yeah, I watched how he played yesterday, and I'm looking at Minnesota and what other teams have done against Minnesota. Minnesota's got 2 losses. They have had an easy schedule. They have been very lucky with their schedule this entire year. And I'm looking at the Jets, and I know we've had a little bit of an easier way about it than I think we thought we were going to have. I have no, I don't want to say I don't have any fear against the Vikings because Justin Jefferson's the best receiver in football. But I trust our defense to be able to contain all the weapons. I mean, Hawkinson, they trade for him. That's a good unit on offense over there. I have more faith in Mike White being able to score points on that defense than I do us like containing all the weapons. Like that part scares me.
Yeah, no, plus Andrew Booth is actually out for the season. They just announced it today. So their top corner pick is now out. Patrick Peterson's aging. Harrison Smith is really not the same kid anymore. Daniel Hunter. I haven't seen Daniel Hunter really do anything. We were talking about getting him in the offseason. That was the name we were looking at. And so far he has not panned out. So this defense is very, very vulnerable, and they really haven't played in a great division. So at this point now, to me, it's Stoss covering Justin Jefferson. It's only the run game. You know, listen, the linebackers got a lot of work to do. They did not tackle well even in yesterday's game, and they have not tackled well against the Patriots. So I got to make sure that they're not going to put Dalvin Cook out in the open along with Alexander Madison. If they can stop the run easily and stay on top of Jefferson, Kirk Cousins is going to be literally a fish in water. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how we attack their offense. Is it going to be, you know, I don't think we're having Sauce shadow Jefferson the entire time. I think we're going to continue what we've been doing, and I think they're going to try and get Jefferson in the slot and have him on Michael Carter. That's something I don't particularly love, but they have a lot of options on offense. And how do we decide who we want to cover? Do we want to take away the run and force Kirk Cousins to try and throw on our secondary? How many players do we want to commit to the run? Do we want to try and drop, 7 guys back and just rush with our front 4 and then just kind of let Dalvin Cook do what he wants and then just not get beat by the receivers? I don't know. My concern here is going to be our linebacking core because that's where the tight ends and that's where the running backs that can catch passes out of the backfield can really do some damage. Brother, thank you so much for the call. You
Listen, you're out of here!
Jets Take comes in. Thank you so much, dude. Says, could this be a Nick Foles moment for the New York Jets? Yes, I do. I think this is definitely what it is. When you look at the confidence in Carson Wentz after Big Dick Nick won the Super Bowl, they had to trade Wentz. There was the team chemistry was shot. Everyone wanted Foles. That's kind of what's going on right now with Zach Wilson. Now, hopefully, we win a Super Bowl at the end of this. That would be great.
From
Darrell.
Darrell, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey,
How goes it?
am I? So I just wanted to give a quick call.
Sure.
Here's what I wanted to say. Look, there's something I want to say about Zach Wilson,
Sure.
and that is what's the word here? Sunk cost. Sunk cost. Something I learned while I was in college is sunk cost, and
I think that's a
that
good.
means that you can't make a decision based
Mhm.
on something that already happened, right? So you picked Zach Wilson, second overall pick, but you can't make a decision to keep him in the game because he's the second overall pick. That's why I was adamant about look, I made a few comments where it's like, well, Mike White, he keeps playing because he's like the future, right? And he has all the arm talent, but it's like the Rams. Look at the Rams. The Rams suck. But here's the thing: they give up everything and they won a Super Bowl. So it's like why don't get rid of Zach Wilson, right? And possibly win a Super Bowl with Mike White. So that's not my
look,
thing. You know, it's like,
I just want to win a Super Bowl. I don't care who the quarterback. I just want a competent quarterback play. If I could watch Mike White do that every week, or even like 75% of that, that'd be the best quarterback we've ever had.
But that's the thing. That's like the issue with like fans. You know, it's like they want to keep Zach Wilson in there because he's a second overall pick, and that's my point. It's like you can't make a decision based on like, oh, look, for example, look, hey, hypothetically speaking, we sign Darrelle Revis. All of a sudden, we're gonna increase our like ticket costs. You know, you can't make a decision based on, oh, we have Zach Wilson, he's a second row pick, so we're gonna increase our ticket price. You know, you have to make it based on like the performance, the actual outcomes, not on like the past.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you look at the amount of money that the team is gonna make with Mike White if they're winning versus Zach Wilson just being the number 2 overall pick. Like the worst thing that happened, like Zach's biggest issue from like our logistical standpoint is we use the 2nd overall pick on him, and like, is Joe Douglas still on board with Zach? Like, does he still want to see him develop? How much confidence does the rest of the staff have in him? Because it's clear as day Mike White is easily the better quarterback right now. And they should be looking at that, not the cost.
My point. It's like, that's my point with like
and I completely agree with you. Darrell was making a good point. Sunk costs. Don't get wrapped up in what you paid for someone. Good GMs will make the right decision to play the best player. And the head coach should do that. I love it.
From
Lima Bean.
Lima Bean, what's up, dude? How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Dude, it was nice to actually see good football. I'm not going to lie.
Hey,
Felt really
as
nice.
As a Jets fan, I'll say it was nice to see offense. Like, I haven't seen an offense since 2015.
It's been a long time. Yeah. That's probably the last time we saw good offense.
Playing a different game on offense, which is one of those things, like, you know, because we're always the run, pass, punt playbook. But, like, I mean, on one hand, I'm excited for what Mike White did, but at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know, maybe it's my own personal biases against soft-arm quarterbacks, but, like, I still remember playing Madden with Chad Pennington, and I couldn't throw a long pass for the life of me in that game. So, but that being said, like, hey, look, if Mike White has the opportunity, let's see how far we can run with him. But that being said, I do hope that Zach takes his time and opportunity to learn, like, actually, like, marinate and, like, fix this. Because, like, I mean, during the draft when he was drafted, I didn't know anything about him until, you know, like, rumors started going around, and I looked into it. It's like, he had the talent, he had the great work ethic, and everything I've heard was good. So I was like, all right, let me try to believe in the kid.
Sure.
It's like, you know, like Josh Rosen or like the other Ryan Leaf, they had like bad characters that didn't want to work. I don't see that with that kid. So I just hope that he figures it out on his own. In the meantime, let's see what Mike White can give us, and then, you know, hopefully this is what Zach Wilson needs to figure it out. Because like, it sucks that if he's not the guy, like, man, that's like another quarterback in the grave. Like, and I hate falling in love with our draft pick. So like,
yeah, dude, it's brutal, and I think it's tough for like New York because I think we tend to fall in love with our draft pick. I think most teams do, but because of the media and because of the pressure that we put on
more disputed than I think any other draft pick. Like, you know, we loved Mark Sanchez, maybe Gino, not so much. He was a second rounder. We fell in love with Sam Darnold, and then like Zach was like very, you know, because a lot of people wanted Fields or Mac Jones or Trey Lance or something else, but like it's just. My thing is, like, I still want to see more. I don't want to get captivated in the moment. I was like, hey, if we could have more games like that, great. But, like, I wish Mike White would have played against Belichick and see what he would have done against that. That's what I wanted to see, personally. But, like...
I think the reason they let Zach go against Belichick is because if he could do well against Belichick, that's the spark the team needs. And he couldn't do anything, and I think that
Belichick
gave them...
Man, Belichick's like I think he said it best, like, if Belichick's 100% for every game, he's like 200% for us. So I think he loves kind of cutting the tree before it, like, you know, grows for us. But that being said, I hope he learns, and I hope Mike White, you know, keeps doing what he's doing. Like, I think what makes Mike White great is because he doesn't have the superior talent, his fundamentals are, like, on, like, point. Like, he does what he needs to push it. And it's like the pitcher throws 100 miles an hour but has no control. He has great stuff, but he can't throw it in the strike zone. Like Randy Johnson back in, like, the way old days, you know? Like, so I hope for Zach, I do want to see his potential. I do want to see that. It sucks seeing Trevor Lawrence do good. I was like, no, fuck that. Like,
like
listen,
a lot
I'm
of the
so bitter at
quarterbacks
this
in that
point,
class
but-
weren't doing great, but they were definitely doing better than Zach.
No,
and
but
that's
they keep getting the opportunity to do well. It's like, no, I'm tired of. I want to be the one with the successful quarterback. I want everyone else to be in purgatory for once. I'm bitter about it. Like, so I'm hoping that Zach figures it out, and I'm hoping that Mike White does a great job too. Like, let's see what happens. And I don't want to close the book on him until he's gone, but while he's wearing Jets stuff, I'm going to root for the kid regardless.
Yeah, and look, he came back after his injury last year, and he came back refreshed. He played a lot better. Maybe that's what we get coming back and having him sit for a little bit. I mean, he's still a young kid. He just turned 23 at the beginning of August. He's the second youngest quarterback in the
He was
NFL.
benched like 5 times last year, and if he could come back from that, anyone could come back from anything. Alex Smith is also another one who kind of, I just see more of like Mike White being a Tannehill, like we'll beat the Tennessee Titans, but never good enough to go to the promised land, but just good enough to compete every year, which is great for us and our standard. But I want the damn Super Bowl. Like
that's the question that I think I want to have answered. Like if he goes out,
who can compete with Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen? We need someone to go on par with them, and that's the truth.
absolutely. If I see him go and ball out these next 2 weeks against two of our toughest opponents on our schedule, I'm going to have far more confidence. Like, I'm already excited for Mike White, and I think he's going to perform better than Zach would be able to in these situations at this point in time. But if he can ball out against the good teams, watch out. This team is all of a sudden a Super Bowl contender. Brother, thank you so much for the call. You have been ejected from the cockpit.
Call from
Michael Timmons.
Michael, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey Ryan, I called you once last year, but every week it's very hard to get through with you.
I've been trying. I really got to figure out how to do a call waiting. I don't know how to do that. I keep saying I'm going to figure it out, and I just haven't. So I apologize about that. I'm glad to have you.
Yeah, and I live in the Tampa Bay area, but I want to tell you about Mike White.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Mike White because he played for USF, University of South Florida, but then towards the end, I think it was his 3rd or 4th year, he transferred to another school.
Mm-hmm.
But a buddy of mine had season tickets, and we used to go see USF play, and that's when we used to see Mike White play all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the man, and I like him. I really like him now. So he's really a good kid. So I hope he does well the rest of the year. So like I said, I'm a big fan of Mike White. So I just wanted to mention that to you.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome to hear too. Like that you got to see him in person in college and see, what he's about, not just like what we've seen in the little bit of time. Because I'll be honest, I didn't watch any of his college tape. I didn't watch anything of him coming out. I was not thinking about Mike White when he came in last year. I was like, who the hell's Mike White? And like he slings it all over the field. So I believe in Mike White. I look at his confidence. Yesterday's game for me was better than the Bengal game last year. Like yesterday felt right. It felt like things were going to click, and they did. I'm just glad it didn't like fall apart. And that was in the rain too. Like imagine this dude in good weather or in a dome. Like what are your expectations?
Did you hear what that was his first game in a year, in the rain.
Yep.
But I was a little concerned today what Sal was saying on his press conference that we're going to take it week to week.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying he mentioned something about that Zach will have his chance to play again. I just don't want to see him the rest of the year.
I don't want to say I don't want to see Zach the rest of the year because I don't right now. As long as Mike White's playing well, you don't put Zach Wilson in. Like I believe we can ride Mike White these 6 games and definitely make the playoffs. With Zach, I think it's likely we make the playoffs, but like I don't know if it's gonna click for him. Like it just doesn't seem like that's in the cards. I was kind of speculating maybe after Minnesota and after Buffalo, if Mike White struggles a little bit, it'll be a little bit easier to justify going back to Zach at that point. Maybe have him compete against the Lions. That'll be a little fluff game. The Jaguars, a little fluff game. I don't want to call it a little fluff game because they just beat the Ravens yesterday. But I think there's going to be easier opportunities to go back to Zach. And I get the feeling that ownership and the GM and everyone else kind of like, they're not giving up on Zach, or at least they're not saying it right now. I think they got to get through the season and then they can kind of make a decision. But I would be surprised if they wanted to roll with Zach like without competition, say for next year. Brother, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Boys and girls, you got 3 minutes on the 3 minutes on the clock. After 3 minutes, you get ejected. Want to hear your thoughts? Tell me how you're feeling about Mike White. Is he the future? Is he the answer for next year for us?
From
Wyatt Peters.
to accept, press
Wyatt, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Oh, hello, man. I didn't think I'd be able to get a hold of you.
Haha, good to have you on, dude. How you feeling?
Good. It's rare for me to see a Jets win that actually makes me feel good instead of bite my fingers off. Like the last game I felt this good was the one we won with Flacco against the Browns because that was just such a cool way to win.
Yeah, right. Like it felt like all the Zach wins were like by the skin of our teeth, and it wasn't providing me a whole lot of confidence. Like I felt like we were going to get bounced one and done until he figured out how to make it click. But Mike White goes in and he's clicking automatically.
I know, it was crazy, and watching it blew my mind. I was one of the guys who wanted to see Strevler. I said, I don't want to see White. He sucked in the preseason. Man, he proved me wrong, and I'm willing to admit I was wrong. I'm very happy with how White played.
Yeah, I think it's nice. Once we saw him elevated to the number 2 overall quarterback, behind Zach, you start kind of thinking, you're like, it's an interesting move. Like, why put him in front of Flacco, and why kind of make that, maybe as known as it was? I think there's confidence.
Talking about him.
What was that?
Like, players kept talking about him, too, behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, you could tell that there was a confidence in him and that they could rely on him getting the ball to the playmakers. And that's all this offense needs. I mean, you look at Jimmy G, they went to a Super Bowl. I am confident Mike White could at least play to that level.
No, I agree, and I do think we ought to be more cautious with our optimism because we're Jets fans and good things don't really happen to us. But I will say, if he continues to play like this, I'm okay with keeping him and not even getting a quarterback next year. The thing that I like the most about him is when Zach was playing, you could kind of see he was scared to play. He was scared to throw the ball. He was scared in the pocket. He ran away a lot. Even when he was throwing, he didn't look confident in his throws. And Mike White he was fearless. He threw darts everywhere. He threw them. And if he had like a giant, 300-pound defender, charging me, just sidestepped slightly and threw a dart right down the field. It was very impressive to watch. It made me feel confident in Mike White's ability.
Yeah, I thought his pocket presence was incredible. You watch how he slid around the pocket, and there was one throw, it might have been to Ty Johnson on a little bit of a wheel route, kind of on the left side, where he stepped up just a little bit, avoided the strip sack, and just, nice little dink and dunk. And he, scampers for, 15 yards or whatever it was? Those are the things that are impressive to me. Zach Wilson running around, visually that looks really good, but Tom Brady made a living doing the little shifts in the pocket. You don't have to go crazy far, but just sidestep. Use other players' momentum and leverage against them. And I think Mike White knows how to do that. I think that comes with time. Zach could learn that if he had 6 years in the NFL, White does, or however long he's been in the league for. I think there's a lot to like about Mike White that isn't necessarily so obvious right off the bat.
No, I agree, and I really hope like I said, we should probably be more pessimistic than we are now, but ever since I've been a Jets fan, I've noticed we're optimistic and pessimistic no matter what's happening. If we win a game, we're going to be the most optimistic fan base. If we lose a game, we're going to be the most pessimistic fan base. So I'm just going to ride the wave here.
Dude, it's a Jet roller coaster. That's what it is. It's every week, just, I get it. I get heartburn from watching this team. Brother, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Making some good points over there. I like it. Who we got on the line?
From
Christian.
Christian, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey there, how's it going in the building?
It feels good. Feels real good.
Yes, we finally get a decent offensive performance, or at least above decent. Anyway, honestly, it's good that Mike White played well, but honestly, he played against an injured Bears defense, and everybody on social media is bragging that, Wilson is done. The starting job is done. I don't know. Even looking at last year when he had that 405-yard performance, people were hyping him up, and then he sucked after that. And I'm not sure if it's going to happen again or he's going to continue this amazing performance.
So we don't know what he's going to be long term right now. And we've seen of his 4 starts, 2 of them have been historic. One that got him into the Hall of Fame. So like half of his games right now are significantly better than anything we've seen from Zach Wilson. Now, this was a weaker Bears team. They were missing a bunch of starters on defense. They traded away their 2 best guys. Their 3rd best guy got injured on the field. They're missing cornerbacks left and right. I'm not trying to grade him solely on this performance and just the Bengal game or anything. I want to see these next 2 weeks. I can sit back and watch. I don't care. It's all right. If he crashes and burns and then we have to go back to Zach, that's fine. I don't want to see that happen. But if it happens, it happens. And I think we move on to a different quarterback next year. But I think we could sit back and just enjoy this ride. There's no reason to put a bunch of doubt on this kid when the game that like he really got blown out in against Buffalo, he had no weapons on the field. He got, beat up by the number 1 defense in the league. This team is vastly different from where it was last year. And I don't think we should expect the same results post the Bengal game the way we did last year.
Yeah, big facts. And also, looking at long term for Mike White, like if he continues to play well and he wins us a freaking Super Bowl, of course you keep him as a starter. But what do you do with Zach Wilson as the number 2 overall pick? Do you trade him or? But we won't trade him. But like, will you keep him as a backup and he'll improve, and then eventually, when Mike White leaves and he becomes a starter eventually, is that what happens?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mike White is probably you'd have to re-sign him. So I'm curious to see what that cost is. I guess it depends how far he could possibly take us this year if he continues to stay in. If White is the guy, with Zach, I think you'd have to trade him because I don't know how you have that kind of locker room with him being the former number 2 overall pick. I think you could move him maybe to a team like the Rams if they have Stafford sitting there and you let Zach, sit behind Stafford for a little bit with Sean McVay coaching him and teaching him a little bit, has a little bit more time. He's in LA, he's in the flashy city. Who knows? Maybe that's, an option. I think for right now, I would hold on to him and then in training camp, pull the trigger on a trade. If we determine Mike White or Garoppolo or Carr or whatever quarterback potentially comes in next year. Unless, I don't know what Zach would have to do for me to feel comfortable, wanting to start him next year. That's kind of where I'm at.
Boom! That's it! You're out of here!
Get out of here.
Call from
Fabian.
Fabian, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Ryan, what's up, my man? How's it going?
Dude, I'm enjoying a little Victory Monday. What's going on with you, brother?
Hey, nothing much. I called you a couple months ago. I told you Corona should be paying you to do your thing there. I hope it worked out for you.
I wish they would. It's really, I find my beach even in, late November.
Yeah, you're getting there, man. You're getting popular. You'll get there. Bro, it's crazy, man. If you told me that if I went to the moon in September and came back now, you told me the Jets started off 1-2, Fabian, but then Zach Wilson came back and he got us 5-2, led us, 6-2, man, and then told me, but he was benched for poor play. I'd be like, wait, what the hell happened in the last 3 months? You're telling me the Jets were 6-2 and Zach Wilson was playing bad, but it's absolutely true.
Yeah, it's a wacky season.
It's really wacky, man, and the sky's the limit for his team. I only wish, and I said it in real time, I forget Zach Wilson's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth quarter of that game, he should have been yanked. Mike White, go get us 3 points, get us a victory, and come Monday, we'll sort out the bodies. But that's the only, problem I have with Salah. But other than that, man, this kid looks comfortable. Looks comfortable. He's got no jittery feet, nothing. He's throwing the ball. By the way, I appreciate you putting up those videos of every throw by Zach Wilson, every throw by Mike White. Those are pretty cool, bro.
Yeah, of course. I enjoy doing it. I'm literally, because while I'm editing it, I get to rewatch the plays multiple times. So I have a pretty decent idea of what I'm talking about by the time I do the post game. It's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah, but if you watch those without even seeing where the ball goes, even though by now we know where the ball goes, you just see the difference between White and Wilson without even seeing the ball. Just see him in the pocket.
The yak. the ball placement where guys can make a play after they catch the ball. Nothing spoke to me more than watching the tight ends catch. There was, I think, 1 or 2 to Conklin that were just like right in stride. Just beautiful passes.
And one to a third down to Azama.
Yes.
Same thing. It was like 5 yards before the first down marker, but there was no one by him, gave him a chance to turn around. Yeah, it's just, I think there's something to sitting. And my biggest thing, I really thought Zach Wilson should have sat at least half the season last year. I think you have to see an NFL game in real time. You can't go from BYU and no fans in the stands to the NFL like that, especially with a bad team like the Jets had last year. But, listen, revisionist history, whatever.
No, I think you're right. And I think the issue that I believe where that kind of came from was back in 2000, I don't know if it was 10 or 11, whenever they changed the CBA and they allowed the rookie pay scale. It's a great thing. Veteran players are getting more money, but it allows teams to bail on quarterbacks earlier than I think they should. Obviously there's a lot of financial things that go into it. You're wasting players' careers by holding on to a quarterback that long. But guys like Aaron Rodgers got to sit. Guys like, Alex Smith had to learn on the job. It took him forever to be a really good quarterback. And I think that's where Zach Wilson could be. He has all the tools. I just think it might be, he might be 26 by the time he's actually like a good quarterback. And the Jets just don't have that kind of timetable.
And they don't because they're ahead of schedule. They became, that's the biggest difference too. If they were 4-6, they might have not made that switch. But at 6-4, it's like, hey, we're right there. And they got the sky's the limit. I think they could do some damage. And I like this game against Minnesota. At Buffalo is going to be a little tougher. Minnesota's defense is weak. They could go over the middle with them.
Yeah, I look at this and I say, man, Robert Saleh must be wheelbarrowing his balls around because they're so big. Being able to bench the number 2 overall pick for a guy in the 5th round that you got off waivers, like that took nuts. You saw how good this defense is. The defensive players are looking around and they're like, okay, this is like, we're really good. Like this, like championship caliber good. Good on the team for realizing it and good on the team for making the move. Brother, thank you so much for the call. You've been
You're out of here!
From the cockpit. Who we got?
Call from
Angelo.
Angelo, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Yes, Ryan. All right, man. Hey, I want to say thank you for doing this, man. I think all us Jets fans need this. We need to call into a show. We need to talk about the Jets, man. We really appreciate it, bro.
It's fun. I was telling my wife, I was like, this is probably my favorite show that I do, just because it's like I get to hear from everyone and like I hear the excitement in the voices, and it's fun. So tell me, how are you feeling after yesterday's game?
Yeah, and you're the best one too, man. And yeah, I'm feeling good. I think that's how the Jets fans are. We're just everything is just kind of like, what have you done for me recently? And you can't help but feel like that. Obviously, you got to be a smart Jets fan and know that it's a long season. And if you look at the schedule, I think a couple of years ago, maybe even last year, you'd say, oh my God, we got a chance. Seattle, Detroit, Jacksonville. But now you look at these teams and they're good. So, I mean, if we're going to make the playoffs, dude, it ain't a cakewalk. I'll tell you that right now. And it starts with Minnesota. Again, I'm just telling you, these teams are a lot more difficult now. And what I want to ask you before the time runs out here is, Joe Douglas has done a great job. But I think these next 2 to 3 years, we're going to see what he's made of, because we got a lot of high draft picks, and he's got to figure out how to pay everybody.
Yeah, and this is the first time he's gonna be able to, right? Like Quinnen Williams is gonna be the first contract for a first round Jets draft pick since Muhammad Wilkerson.
Yep. So I mean, and then after that, you look at C.J. Mosley. I mean, I think in the draft this year, I think we got to replace him. I love C.J. and hopefully he's back next year, but I think the smart thing to do is replace him, especially if Mike White does well and you give him a 2 to 3 year deal, maybe $20 million, $25 million. I don't know what but if Mike White plays and brings us to the AFC Championship game or something like that, I mean, you're gonna have to pay him. And C.J. Mosley, I don't know how that's all gonna work out. We'll see what Joe Douglas does.
That's the situation that I'm interested in. What you just described is what happens if Mike White gets us to like an AFC Championship game. Like, how much do you pay him? And how much do you believe he was a facilitator? Because if you think that you can get Jimmy G for cheaper or you can get Gardner Minshew for cheaper, like, does that go further? Or is the face of Mike White and the ability to lead the team the way he did more valuable than whatever you would be saving on getting a different quarterback? I don't know what the answer to that is.
I think you keep it in house. I think if Mike White's done it, he's here. I mean, at that point, maybe Jimmy G is better, but maybe he's not better with this team. We know Mike White is good with this team.
And Mike White can still grow. Like, Jimmy G is kind of like a finished product. Like, I don't feel like Jimmy G is getting better. I just feel like he's got a high floor.
Yeah, and I think if you look at Mike White's stats in college, I mean, 34 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 4,000 passing yards his last 2 years. That's why he was a 5th-round pick. He's 6'5". He's 27 years old. I mean,
you got 10 years with this guy. Like if he plays well and you deem him to be the guy, like the quarterback, yeah, you can have him an easy 8 to 10 years. And we really like the window that we're looking at right now for Super Bowl window, because of the defense that we have. This is a 3-year, maybe 4-year window. Now, if Joe Douglas can continue to hit on draft picks, that extends that window dramatically. But the Jets are going to go all in starting this offseason to try and win a Super Bowl these next 3 years. That's what's exciting about this.
We're going to be a team to come.
Boom! He was mid-thought process. I'm sorry, dude. Who we got?
Call from
Jet Mike.
Jet Mike, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey, guys. Good win for the week. It was awesome.
Feels good. Feels good to be happy again.
Hey, we got a strong team now.
Yeah, and it feels like they're all clicking. Like, this could be the spark that just, like, sets everything ablaze. Like, this could be the run. Like, we might be that might have been the trigger, depending on what happens these next 2 games.
Do you really fear anybody this year?
I don't.
Like, I feel confident, man to man, anybody, any team.
I would say I'm going to feel a lot more confident after this next Vikings game and Buffalo game. And then I think our next true test is going to be Miami with Tua, with Waddle, with Tyreek Hill. Like, those are the teams I'm kind of keeping an eye on. I think the Jets should beat Minnesota. We have beaten Buffalo, so I think we can do that again.
But this team believes.
That's just it. A team that believes and they have faith in everything, like, they're going to give it that little bit of extra juice.
And they want to fight, man. They want to be here. They want to play football.
Absolutely.
This is exciting.
This is the first time we've been able to do this, like, since 2015, and it is so refreshing. I can't tell you. I was, like, going through my pre-show setup, and I was like, okay, what should I put in this, like, little column when the camera switches? And I was like, oh, I'm going to put the playoffs. This isn't a draft pick. Usually I have, like, the draft rankings and, like, the mock draft, like, what position are the Jets sitting in? I could care less about Tankathon. I'm very happy talking about football this time of year.
We were supposed to be the first overall pick.
Yep. Oh, we're gonna start 0-9. I think even Connor Hughes said we could start like 2-8, like, to start the season. Like, it was like no one had any faith in us.
That's so sad, man. We got some great players. We're gonna really show the world what's to come.
Yeah, I believe we have the correct coaching staff in place. I believe we have the correct GM. And I think it's just a matter of figuring out the quarterback. And I think Mike White has a shot to be it. And he's going to have the opportunity to prove it because he has 6 games left plus the playoffs. If, assuming, fingers crossed, everything goes well. We're currently sitting in the 7th seed right now. But looking at the other teams, it looks like it's going to be the Patriots and the Chargers as the other 2 teams that we're going to be competing with. But there's some tough games on the schedule for a few of those teams. So I think 10-7 may get us in.
But we don't need him to be a superstar. We just need to be a balanced team.
Yeah, I completely agree. And balance is a good word because you saw how he distributed the ball across the board. If someone goes down and gets hurt, you have the confidence to be able to spread the ball around, and you're not handicapped. It's not like Corey Davis goes down and all of a sudden Zach Wilson can't find anyone because he doesn't have faith in anyone. Like, Mike White is spreading the ball around, and I think that's more important than, like, I don't say it's more important than anything, but that's a huge piece of this whole puzzle.
I can't wait to see Jefferson versus Sauce.
Oh, dude, it's going to be fun. This has been the matchup I've kind of been eyeballing since the Miami game. It's like, okay, how are we going to, combat this? Like, if we can hold Jefferson to, like, 70 yards and a touchdown, like, that's a win, I think. If you keep him under 100 yards, that's good. And I think the Jets with this secondary, I think they could make it even worse for him than that. Like I should say I want to see less yardage, but he's going to get his reps. The guy's incredible. So I think if you can hold him to like less than 70 yards, no more than a touchdown, I think the Jets defense did their job and the Jets are going to come away with a victory. Dude, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected
You're out of here!
from the cockpit.
Call from
Ryan from the Bronx.
Ryan from the Bronx, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey, what's up, Ryan? Good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you too. How are you feeling about yesterday's win, and how are you feeling about Mike White in particular?
Listen, first off, I know everybody has established the nickname Mike fucking White. No, that's not what we're doing, man. I've been calling him Mike the Dyke White for about a year. Ryan, why do you call him the Dyke, you asshole? Because he's not really fucking around with these dudes. That's why. The way he plays on the field, I'm telling you.
That's ridiculous. I enjoyed the thought process that went into that. I had no idea where you were going with that.
I know, yeah. No, listen, I don't know why a lot of people are surprised. To me, Mike White showed us everything we needed to see last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think for people that might have forgot, he came in halfway through a Patriots game, threw a touchdown to Corey Davis. Everybody was kind of like, okay, season's over. Comes in against a playoff hope Cincinnati team who would eventually become a Super Bowl team and just lights them up. And mind you, this is with less talent. This is with a 32nd ranked defense. He lights them up. Mike White isn't a generational talent like Zach was projected to be. And you know what? I'm okay with that because what he is a 6'5" beast who's going to put the ball in place. We saw how he spread the ball yesterday like a point guard, like we've all been just wanting to see. And I think every time he has played a game, we can see that, hey, maybe this offense isn't as bad as we make it to be. Maybe Mike LaFleur's play calling isn't as bad as we think it is. Every time he's in there, he shows how good the offense can be. And listen, we might not get 3 touchdowns every game, but we don't need that with this defense. We just need someone who can take care of the football and play with poise. And I think Mike White carries that. So I'm very excited with the game. I know people are saying it was just against Chicago, but I don't care about that. Let's play clean football, and that's what we did yesterday. So I'm really hopeful about Mike White, and I think we beat Minnesota. I think we do with Mike White at the helm.
Yeah, I agree. I'm right there with you, and I think the confidence stems from the poise he had in the pocket. And his arm is way stronger than I gave him credit for. I thought he was just going to be this guy that was just dinking and dunking his way down the field, which, he does the easy stuff, which is, 90% of the NFL game. If you are, okay at the other 10%, you're still doing good. Like, you're all right. I like what Mike White does. I like what he brings to the team. I love how you said, like a point guard. That's exactly what he is. He can distribute the ball to his playmakers. It's exactly what the Jets need. We don't need generational talent when you have the level of talent that's on this team.
Correct. That was beautifully said. And before you kick me off, I just want to comment about his arm strength. Listen, he may not be out here, gunning it 60-yard passes, but, when he has to throw a strike in between a safety and a corner, it's a tight window. He can hit that ball, and that's what you want to see, especially in this type of offense. Dump offs, 10-yard passes, 15-yard passes. It's not really a flashy offense. It's more of just put the ball, 1, 2, 3, boom, 1, 2, 3, boom, just in and out, ball off the hands, and he has the arm strength to gun it in. So I'll be buying my Mike White jersey tomorrow. And
what color are you going to buy it in?
I'm going to get it in the black. Sure.
I love it. He's had his 2 best games wearing the black jersey, right? I was going to say Mike White should be in the white jersey, shouldn't he? But Mike White in the black jersey has looked pretty good so far.
Oh, it's so sick, man.
Brother, thank you so much for the call. You have been ejected from the cockpit. Boys and girls, you get 3 minutes on the clock. After 3 minutes, I eject you from the cockpit. Who we got?
Call from
Joe.
Joe, what's up, dude? Welcome back to the cockpit.
Hey, Brian, what's up?
I am hanging in there. I'm enjoying a little beer on a Victory Monday. Tell me, how you feeling about yesterday's game?
I'm feeling great. I think they did the right thing by benching Zach, to show him that, you got to live up to your billing. You got to play up to par.
Sure.
You can't just
get by on your good looks and your mediocre play.
Right? Yeah, I felt like Zach Wilson was like this myth of a person, like the whole, he banged his mom's friend and like, all this stuff. It's like, oh, wow, he's got this swagger about him. Mike White is like the vanilla ice cream of quarterbacks, and I love it. It's everything we've needed.
Yeah, he did a great job yesterday. But let me keep things in perspective, Ryan.
Sure.
With some of these young callers, because there was only one person I heard tonight that sounded older than me. And I'm 49. Let me say this. Jet fans go to the next hot thing, and this is what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But you could look at examples like Nick Foles, who did great with the Eagles, won a Super Bowl, signed a big contract. Where is he now? Look at Joe Flacco, another one. Had a good career with Baltimore, won a Super Bowl. Where is he now? My point is
he
this.
played like 10 years in Baltimore, and they were like always playoff contenders. I only need one Super Bowl. You give me constant playoff contender and one Super Bowl, I'm like happy as a pig in shit.
Yeah, you know why? Because Ryan, I love you. I think you're a great guy, but if you want to have long-term success, you want to build a dynasty, can't have that mindset. And I'll tell you why. Yes, we will take anything because we're Jet fans. We haven't even been in a Super Bowl in 50 years. 50-plus years, that is.
Sure, but Mike White did what no other quarterback in the history of the league has done. He's had 2 games in his first 4 games where he has had 300-plus yards, 75% completion percentage, and 3 touchdowns. No one else has ever done that. And he's on our team. This guy could be a franchise quarterback.
Do you think he's an elite quarterback?
I don't think he's elite right now, but we have 6 more games that we could watch him before I determine, hey, this is the guy for next year, or, if he plays to the level of play that he had this past week, we're going to beat Minnesota, we're going to beat Buffalo, and we're going to, just go on a run. Like, we're going to go 5-1 if he plays like he did yesterday. But I think the defenses we're going to play are going to be a little bit better. The offense is going to be a lot better. And I think there's going to be more of a test overall of our team. And the nice thing is we don't have to answer, is Mike White elite right now? We have until free agency starts to make that determination.
Well, yeah, you're right, and I think he's been a good leader. That's the number one thing, to get everybody all on the board.
That's the thing. Like him, he is a leader of men. That's what it feels like. And it's not like he's, Tom Brady or anyone like crazy, but you could tell he commands the respect of the players on the field, and they respect him because of what he's able to do.
And I agree. But for long-term success, the way Joe Douglas wants to build is a dynasty.
Sure.
And you can't go by, like you said, 4 games, which Jets fans are doing.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying?
But it's not going to be 4 games. It's going to be 10 games by the time we're done with this season. Brother, I love you so much. You've been ejected from the cockpit.
You're out of here!
Sorry, Joe.
Call from
AbLab.
AbLab. What's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
What's going on, man? How are you, man?
Dude, I'm having a good night.
Monday. Yeah? What's
I
that
am.
beer? You on IPA over there, man? What you drinking over
I've got a Corona, so it's not an IPA. I do have IPAs downstairs. I figured I'd burn through some Coronas. I got 3 more left after these 3 that I'm gonna have tonight. And then I got to work through some White Claws. I got a few other beers. We had Thanksgiving at my house, so I have like a cooler loaded with with all the drinks.
Oh, good, man. You got the leftovers. It's holiday season, man. So
hell yeah.
Enjoy your Monday.
Absolutely.
But listen, man. I'm ecstatic about Mike White's play. Troubled by Zach, obviously. I think that if Mike White continues to play like this, great. You know what I mean? We'll take it. We'll ride it. We're contending. But kind of like what the past caller was saying, we want to be perennial. We want to be able to not only get 1 Super Bowl, but hopefully 2, or make it to like 3 or 4. You want to be in that conversation. In order for us to do it, the quarterback play, to be able to kind of be repeat offenders, if you would, in the championship contention.
It feels like we have already won a Super Bowl, by the way you're talking. I just want to get I want to get in the playoffs. We have the longest playoff drought of like any team. I just want to get in the playoffs.
But okay, we want to get in the playoffs, but bro, look at our team.
We have 6 games plus whatever the playoffs are to determine if Mike White's going to be the guy. He may not be. It's entirely possible.
I know.
All right, go.
We as Jets fans look, I'm older than the caller who called before, so I'm with him. We as Jets fans have dealt with mediocrity to BS for so many years that just getting in the playoffs will fucking tickle our gonads and shit. You know what I mean? But
dude, I just want to
we
say
have an
it's proof of
opportunity with
concept,
this
right? Like
team.
if we get to the playoffs this year and we see how far we can get, if we could win a game in the playoffs, ugh. And I think you're going to see other quarterbacks want to come here.
Ryan, our team is one of, if not the youngest team in the NFL, one of the youngest. We also have a brand new GM, basically, as well as a coaching staff. We're groomed right now, like to be 10, 15 years doing this, man. We're set up this way to not just have one time and that's it. We're one quarterback away. Hopefully, Mike will continue to play great. You know what I'm saying? But we definitely next year need to like look at some options.
Is there a quarterback next year that you kind of look at and you say, hey, that's the guy I would like to bring in here? Like, let's assume Mike White's not an option. Like, he either fizzles out or it's just not, let's say he's not in the cards.
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously Jimmy G is the easiest route, right? Because, they're going to they have to invest in Trey Lance. They have to see what they have there. And Jimmy's playing great, knows the system. A little long in the tooth. Also, Derek Carr would be great, but that's going to cost us, but he could be great. And we could also, if we get like somewhere, if our draft is right, we're in the 4th round and we happen to have a QB on our board that we said, okay, this is the 4th round, but he drops to like the 5th round or 6th round and we could get him because I trust JD more than anybody. Then we do that with a Jimmy G, Mike White, and whoever this new son of a bitch could be that we got in the 6th round.
So that's exactly where I'd like to go. And before I if Mike White plays well enough to have us justify bringing him back, then I'm probably looking at bringing in someone like a Gardner Minshew and having those two compete because I feel like they would raise the level of the competition between the two of them. I feel like if Mike White's not going to be retained and they're thinking, hey, we like Jimmy G. That's the guy we've been to a Super Bowl with. He knows the offense. Let's just roll with that. Then, yes, I do definitely want to have a mid-round guy, like a 3rd or 4th round quarterback that can just sit behind whoever it is and just learn. There's no rushing people to start. I don't like the early quarterback. I think we've seen it fizzle out so many times in New York. It's just not worth the headache at this point, especially with the team that's built to win right now. We don't have 2 years to allow a guy to develop, but we do have time to let a guy that is developed come in immediately and have someone sit behind him. So I completely agree with you on that front.
You're out of here!
You've been ejected from the cockpit. Who we got? Stifler's mom says, how good can Sam Ehlinger be with this team? I don't know. That's a question for someone else. Who we got? Oh, no. Hung up on me.
Call from
Donald.
Hey, what's good, brother? Welcome to the cockpit.
Yo, man, I've been trying to get to you for the last couple months.
I'm glad you're through. Dude, Mike friggin' White. Talk to me. How you feeling about yesterday? And do you think Mike White is the answer at quarterback?
Yes, he is the answer for now.
Yeah, that's good. That's the best thought I've had from someone that called in so far. Because everyone's like, oh no, you're hyping this up. We got 6 friggin' games to see this guy play. We don't have to worry. We can sit back and relax, enjoy the ride.
Exactly, and that's what I love seeing right now. Everybody was on Zach Wilson. Well, Zach Wilson is done for me. I don't want to see another game from him this year.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, unless Mike White completely shits the bed in the coming weeks, this level of competent quarterback play is exactly what we need to get into the playoffs. I 100% am on board with Mike White.
Yes. So how do you like the sound bite with Elijah Moore?
You're talking about the post-game press conference when he had the sunglasses on? Is that the one you're talking about? So he had the he was excited. It sounded like he enjoyed playing football again. I don't know if I caught the entirety of the clip, but I saw the one bit that was like, okay, yeah, I was excited. I was running it. I just was so happy to score a touchdown. Like, it sounds like he's having fun playing the game again.
I'd be having fun if I was catching the ball too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you figure he was put on ice for 4 games. He had 3 games of no catches, and he had, the game where they didn't even fly him out.
Not only that, but the sound bite is the way I think the team should approach the rest of the season. We are not preparing for the storm. We are the storm.
I love that. I definitely missed that portion of it. But yeah, I mean, the talent this team has, I think, can play with any team in the league. I'm not afraid of the Chiefs. I'm not afraid of, I want to sit here and I want to watch how we compete with a lot of these teams because I'm like cautiously optimistic. I'm afraid to like get burned by our Jets again. But I really think this defense can play with anyone. And if, Mike White can perform 75% of what we got yesterday, we're going to win a lot of football games.
Yeah. We're gonna definitely win at least 3 out of the next
So
5
we got
games?
Well, so we got 6 games right now. We're sitting at 7-4. You got to think 3 games get you to 10-7. That might get you in, but we're in a bad spot in terms of tiebreaker. So you may need that 11th game. But like I can see us beating Minnesota. We've already beat Buffalo once, but let's say we split that one. We should beat the Jags and the Lions. That gets you 3 games right there. I think we beat Seattle. I think they've come back down to earth a little bit. I would love to go into the final week of the season and not need to play people against Miami. I want to have our playoff spot locked up. I want the division. I want that last game to be for the division.
Yes, but what would you think if we don't, if Miami sits their starters and that's the game that we need to get into the playoffs? How sweet would that be?
I don't want to get into the playoffs like that. Like I've seen that before, and it's like a bittersweet. It's like we're backing into the. I don't want to say backing into the playoffs, but it's definitely like I want to earn it through good play. I want that final game to be for the division, or just we're already locked up the wild card. It's nice to have those options, though, right? Brother, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Boys and girls, we got a half hour left. Get your calls in.
Call from
Hunter.
Hunter, what's good, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
What's going on, Ryan? I'm feeling a lot better this week. A lot better on
absolutely.
Monday. Oh my goodness, Mike White. I was talking last week on the show about how all we needed was just one guy who could dish the ball out, run the offense, and we're a force to be reckoned with. And I mean, people might say, oh, the Bears defense was hurt. He was throwing in a monsoon. Zach Wilson was throwing in the wind.
Yeah.
No rain.
I was impressed with the grip he had on the ball. Everything was a spiral. Like, he must have bigger hands than I thought.
I know. And, oh, my goodness, I was watching the game, and I was getting excited for checkdowns. There was a play where Mike White was looking, and he had Garrett Wilson as his first read, and he checks the ball down for like a 4-yard out to Uzama, and I was freaking out.
Right.
Just do things right, and everything comes to you.
Do the simple stuff. I want to be lulled to sleep with how boring this offense is because we're getting first down. Like, the first drive we saw of Mike White is how I want every drive to go. Just efficient, execute the game plan, and like let your playmakers make plays out in space.
And the thing is, when you run this offense boring, it draws everybody in. So those big plays, like the one to Elijah Moore, like some of those to Garrett Wilson, those can happen.
Yep.
Everything happens for a reason in this offense, and you just need a quarterback who understands that and can just stay patient long enough, stay in the pocket, go through your reads, so that all of that exciting stuff can happen, and Jets fans can finally enjoy a good game of football.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it's been nice to watch a little bit of competent offense because we haven't had too much of that since Breece Hall went on the IR. So I really think this team can stick with anyone the way we're playing right now.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, Mike White, I remember last year he came in and it felt like one of those classic, backups coming in, they get a big win. Is this the guy?
Yep.
But he came in this time and it felt very different.
I
It felt
agree.
like somebody who was competent and the team could get behind and the coaches were behind. And I heard it at MetLife. Everyone's behind him. Everyone. And I think that is what New York needs as a franchise quarterback, not somebody that comes in that's flashy or a high draft pick or everybody's known about for their whole career coming out of high school. Like, we just need somebody who can stick their head down and get this team wins. Because
There's
we
something
worked so
gritty
hard to
about
put-
New York and the fan base of the Jets. Like, for me, when I look at fan bases and I see the Giants fans and I kind of attribute them to be like Yankees fans, and they're sort of like, okay, you guys have seen victory, you've tasted that. Like, for me, the Jets are always seen as the underdog. We're kind of the redheaded stepchild. We're the second-class citizen in our own stadium. And for me, I feel like you want your players to almost embody how the fans feel. And Mike White, for me, is that underdog. I love rooting for an underdog. Zach Wilson, like, don't get me wrong, I'm rooting like hell for Zach Wilson. As long as he's on our team, I am gonna, beat the drum for him, beating the drum for Mike White. But Mike White has that humbleness that I think fans want to see in a football player. They don't want to see the guy that gets paid $1 zillion and is like privileged. They call him the 3-car garage guy, and you want to see him be relatable to the fan base and to the players. And I think Mike White has earned that through his time in training camp. I think the players have valued his accuracy. It does feel different than it did last year against the Bengals. I think there's enough there that, especially with the arm strength too. I mean, even just watching, I said it last year, it was all 5-yard passes, everything within the first 5 yards. I'm singing a different tune this year. 100%.
Yep.
Brother, thank you so much for the call.
That's it. You're out of here.
You've been ejected from the cockpit. Oh, no. Would you hang up on me? Hung up on me. What a jerk. Not the last caller, the one I was about to pick up the phone for. Boys and girls, we've got 25 minutes left in this call-in show. You get 3 minutes to plead your case. After 3 minutes, I eject you from the cockpit.
From
Richard, a.k.a. Turn the Great.
Richard, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, guys, hit the like and subscribe button.
Love it. Love it. This is a good dude. You can call in anytime. Talk to me. How you feel about yesterday's game?
Well, I won that shirt, but I never got it, so.
Wait. Which one?
I'm just messing with the wide receiver sauce one. It doesn't matter.
Hold on. Nope. Give me your... Shoot me an email after this with your name and everything. I want to follow it back up. I want to make sure you get your shirt.
I'll DM you on Twitter. I'm not really mad about it or anything. Hey, listen, I just wanted to say this. I mean, the key to this game with the Vikings is the Vikings have they're having an issue defending the pass. Why that is, no clue. But it's all going to be about the yak, baby. It's all going to be about the yak. Can Mike get the ball to where he needs to get it? Can Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore make magic happen? Absolutely. So.
Yeah, 100%. If you can get the ball to the playmakers in space, and you look at the last few games, like Dallas beat the snot out of the Vikings, and I think the Jets could do something similar. I think there's probably not. I don't know. I feel more confident against the Vikings, and I'm concerned that I'm feeling as confident as I am at this point. But it feels like the Vikings are primed to get smacked around a little bit.
Sure. Hey, listen, I do got to run, but hey, go ahead and hit me with the chicken. I'm down for it.
I love it, brother. You have been ejected from the cockpit. Seriously, dude. Reach out to me. I want to make sure I get you your shirt. I'm curious to see which one it is. I do have people that just don't reach out occasionally. But no, I do know. I'm sure I hope I put it through. I hope I didn't miss the order. I'd be pretty upset if I did that. Mumtaz drops in with a super chat. Let's talk to Mumtaz, and then we'll get back to the phone calls. Let's see. Mumtaz says, see the all-22 replay. White made throws Zach would never see and never dare to make. He beat blitz. He went to second reads. His 42-yard throw to Moore was fit in a 1-inch window. His second touchdown to Garrett Wilson, he threw over a linebacker with a pass rush in his face. Dude, the arm strength, I think, was what impressed me the most from Mike White. I was surprised just how good he was. I said it before. I thought a lot of last year's throws were all about the 5-yard dink and dunk style things, or the just throw it to the running back, which you have to do. But the impressiveness on those 2 touchdowns, like you said. Now, the Garrett Wilson touchdown. Forget the yak portion of it. Whoop, sorry. Forget the yak portion of it because the safety was down. But just the throw to get it to Garrett Wilson was on a rope, getting it right over the linebacker's hands. And the Elijah Moore, when I saw the behind the quarterback view of it, I was like, oh man, I wouldn't have thrown that pass. That's a terrifying pass to throw. And Mike White hit it, and he did it with confidence. As soon as he saw the play, he's like, I'm pulling the trigger. Like Zach Wilson, he sees it and he's like, are they open? I don't know. Okay, now I'm going to throw it, and now it's too late, and then you wind up getting an interception. You're able to see Mike White make decisive decisions, and it just goes so far in what we've really, it's just, we've needed this. We have needed competent quarterback play, and that's exactly what we're getting out of the Mike White. I love it. All right, let me go back to the phone lines. You guys get 3 minutes on the clock. After 3 minutes, you get ejected from the cockpit. Drug Monkey in the chat says, Zach Wilson is another Jamarcus Russell. I think Zach Wilson has the potential to still be good, where Jamarcus Russell was never going to have the work ethic to be good. I hope Zach can turn around, whether it's with us or someone else.
From
Green Beans Beard Man.
Oh, Jeremy, how you doing tonight?
What's up, brother?
I'm hanging in there. How are you feeling about yesterday's win?
I'm feeling great, man. It's Victory Monday.
Right? I want to hear your thoughts on Mike White and how you feel moving forward with him. Are you kind of hoping we go back to Zach? Do you want to ride the hot hand? What's going on in your mind?
You got to ride the hot hand, man. I mean, this guy he's doing the job right now. I'm so tired of hearing people talk about the Bears defense. What does that have to do with it? The guy throws passes to our receivers. That's what, it has nothing to do with the defense. We need a guy who can hit the receivers. Zach's not that guy right now. I hope it turns around for him. I'm a big Zach guy, but he's not able to pass the ball to our receivers, and Mike White is, and that's what we need.
Yeah, and that's a good way to put it. It might be a little confusing for some people to hear that. It's like, oh, we don't need to worry about the defense. No, but that's kind of correct. We don't have to worry about the defense we're playing because our previous quarterback in Zach Wilson couldn't hit open receivers on easy throws. These are like college guys, high school guys should be able to hit these throws. Guys that are in the NFL, you need to be able to execute the easy stuff. And if you're throwing turnovers, if you're, throwing balls in the dirt, whipping balls over the top of guys' heads, you're never going to get first downs that way.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And another thing is, do you know that we've only had one other quarterback in our history that more than once has thrown over 75% with
300 yards and 3 touchdowns?
Yards, yeah. Well, even without the touchdowns, we've only had one quarter. Only Ken O'Brien has done it more than once. He did it 4 times.
Yep.
Only 4 Jets quarterbacks have ever done it.
One was Mike Geno White, and one was Chad. And Mike White was the other one.
Did it, right, exactly. Ken O'Brien did it 4 times. So he's the 4th guy to do it, 4th Jet to do it. Second one to do it over, 1 time, and then he's done it in only 4 or 5 starts.
Yeah. Insane. That think about if Zach did that through 4 starts, how crazy we'd be going. I mean, obviously we're having a lot of fun with Mike White right now, but let's say Mike White was the number 2 overall pick and he did that through 4 starts and it was the first 4 games of the season. We'd be jumping up and down. We'd be like, we just got our franchise quarterback.
Right. And then everybody wants to hold the Buffalo game against him from last year. But every bad game Zach has ever had for us, there's been tons of excuses. The O-level's not good. He's developing. Give him a chance. It's like, well, where's Mike White's chance? He has all the same excuses for this Buffalo game last year, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. He had all the injuries to the wide receivers. There was tipped interceptions. Like, I'd have to go back and watch every throw from that particular game to diagnose it as well as I could. But I have as much faith in Mike White as I have of any quarterback that we've had in the last 7-8 years, I would say. I don't get the scared tenseness that I get with Zach. I'm like, ooh, like he's letting it rip. Like, is it gonna be intercepted? Like Mike White, I'm not like cringing the same way.
Yeah, it's thrilling and exciting. It's funny they call it boring football because to me, every time you get the ball to these receivers, there's a chance they're going to break it for a touchdown. So that's not boring to me. That's exciting.
I completely agree. with that. That was a very good way to say that too, because it's boring football, but it's not boring when you have the playmakers the Jets have. Like we should be able to win games with boring football. Jeremy, I love it. I'm going to get some more callers. Guys, if you haven't hung out with Jeremy, make sure you sub up his channel, Jets Chaos, and make sure you hang out with us on the halftime shows over on Green Bean's channel. Always fun.
Love you,
Jeremy,
brother.
thank you so much. You have been ejected from the cockpit. Who we got? Welcome to the cockpit.
What is up? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was a great Thanksgiving. I got to share it with my lovely daughter. We had it at our house here. It was just, it was always so fun. I ate a bunch of stuffing. I watched a bunch of football, drank a bunch of beers. I wish every Thursday was Thanksgiving. Well, then I guess it wouldn't be as special. But I love Thanksgiving. How was yours?
No, you don't. Then you'd have to worry about the cleanup.
That's true. That was the only stressful part. But we did have a bunch of help here, and they're like, "Oh no, you have a child. Like, let me wash the dishes." And I love washing dishes, but I was like, I'm going to take advantage of this, and I'm going to say yes.
No, they're a good weekend. Of course, it's fun watching the Vikings expose the Swiss cheese that is the Patriots secondary.
Oh yeah, yup.
Oh no, and then look at their schedule. Man, look how many more explosive wide receivers they got to go up again.
Oh, yeah, they got to play Buffalo twice, I think,
Waddle,
right?
Hill, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. If you want to throw D-Hop in there, you could throw D-Hop and Devontae Adams in there.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about the Vikings or are you talking about the Patriots?
That secondary is going to just get cooked for the rest of the year.
Oh, yeah. Look, there's a part of me that really hopes the Patriots make it into the playoffs. I want a third crack at them with White. I really do.
Part of me doesn't, and part of me would just love to laugh in their face if they had swept us all for nothing.
Oh, it'd be great. That would be nice. I feel like if the Patriots are making the playoffs, it's probably because they're bouncing us out in a tie, so it's probably not great. But I would love to have another shot at it.
I get that, but I think right now I'm excited because the offense is finally clicking, and I think we've already talked about how this defense is championship caliber.
Mm-hmm.
Look, and the thing is, the quarterback inconsistencies might have actually helped us because people really don't know the full potential of this offense. Not outside of us, no one really knows what this offense is really capable of. Most of us, because they just laugh, they love lulled Jets. They love to cling to that stale narrative, but they don't see it. So now that you got Mike White in there and he's competent.
Look, I think ESPN had us at this the number 16 team in the power rankings, and it says the Jets are still frauds. And it's they're not buying in.
Sports. That was NBC Sports.
NBC Sports.
Are you kidding me? The Patriots just get cooked on Thanksgiving, and they're somehow still above us.
Well, maybe the argument is, hey, the Patriots beat us twice, and they just got cooked. That's probably the argument they're looking at, and oh, well, Zach's not the guy. They faced a bunch of backups and all that good jazz. I'm so done with that narrative.
Who the Patriots face? They face the same shitty teams.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm well aware, but it's the fact that the Jets lost twice to them. I think that's where it all stems from.
It's frustrating.
Vinny, I love you. You've been ejected from the cockpit.
You're out of here!
It's good man, Vinny. Good man. We got 13 minutes left. Whew. Who we got? Who's on the phone?
From
Cy Thompson.
Hey, what's good, brother? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey, what's going on?
Dude, I'm hanging in there. How is your victory Monday?
Victory. Hey, I got just one thing to say.
Sure.
Let's just be Jets fans
Mm-hmm.
and roll with it.
Absolutely.
Because you know what? We don't have. We're a jaded.
We're a jaded group of
franchise.
people. I get it. We haven't had a lot to cheer for.
Exactly.
We
And
should
the
sit
point
back
is
and
that
enjoy the ride. We weren't supposed to be here. ESPN had us picking first in the draft. People had us dead to rights before the season.
I had us at ninth. 9 wins.
That's exactly what I had. I
my-
said 9 wins. That's a good season. I think the floor should be 7, but 9 wins is where I'm hoping I think the Jets will get to. And I think we have a really good shot at getting to 11.
Well, all I want to say, you have a great show. I love it. I watch it all the time. And you know what? For all the doubters out there, go Jets. Just quit bitching.
Brother, thank you so much. It means a lot that you tune in and hang out with us. But I want to see all the receipts just cashed in at the end of the year. All the haters that have been doubting the Jets.
Exactly. Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
Dude, I'm sitting back, I'm watching, I'm enjoying the day. It's like, we're playing with house money at this point.
Well, it doesn't matter what money we're playing with.
Yeah.
All we're playing with is, look, we got a stifling defense, and now all of a sudden, we've got an offense that just woke up, and, hey, what are you going to do? You play the cards. You play to your room. That's all you got to do.
Absolutely.
And what we got right now is, damn, dude, we're sitting in the cockbird seat. I don't care what anybody says.
Dude,
we're
we have
ready
a
to
good
roll.
team. We've got a good team. And, people want to know, who's our quarterback moving forward? Who's the franchise quarterback? I'll think about it next year. I'll think about it next year. Right now,
it's the next man up.
Yes, it's the next man up. And, look, this team is good enough to win right now. Let's enjoy this.
You saw it you saw it in the Chicago game. Come on. This is no joke. I mean, you saw people making plays, going out there. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean the entire
Garrett
play of the
Wilson,
entire team.
Garrett Wilson doing that little leg move. I'm sorry. I'm a little fan privy to him. But he just jock dropped that dude.
Dude,
right
he puts his
there,
foot in the ground and just broken ankles everywhere. Garrett Wilson's tough to catch in a phone booth.
I mean, it's just not him. It's everybody else. And here's my point is this. Zach did what? Nothing.
Yeah.
What is this guy doing? All he's doing is cerebral and running the offense correctly.
Completely agree. Brother, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. He's running everything efficiently.
Call from
Mac.
Hey, what's good, brother? Welcome to the cockpit.
Yo, Ryan, what's up, man?
Dude, I'm just enjoying a little Victory Monday. Tell me, how you feeling?
I feel awesome. Did you watch the Richard Sherman podcast?
I didn't. I saw comments that he made about Mike White, and I might have just seen the Twitter post that he was saying. Maybe I didn't even see the comments from him. Talk to me. What happened on the Richard Sherman podcast?
Basically saying if you take Zach's story and Mike's story and you flip them, everyone today would be saying, "Look, the Jets got their guy. They have their next quarterback. Blah 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 blah." The pedigree, means shit.
Yep. 100% agree. I was just saying that. If Zach Wilson had 4 starts where 2 of them were over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, we'd be saying, this dude's the real deal. Mike White's done it twice. We might have our guy.
This offense was 180 degrees different. I mean, the difference was night and day with White under center.
You saw Moore, you saw Wilson. He was hitting there was only that one screen pass I think that he hit Garrett Wilson, like in the dirt, right?
That was on the first drive.
One pass.
It was like, I think he was 5 for 5 at that point, and that was the first incompletion.
I say, let Zach just sit on the bench. I don't even care that he's inactive, to be honest. The thing that they always say, like, you pick a wrong QB, puts the franchise back 5 years. That's bullshit. It only sets the franchise back 5 years when you play the wrong guy and you keep sending them out there when you have a good team. I think every time there's a crisis or a problem, Salah's made the right decision. I mean, the right decision at the right time.
Yep. The way they handled Mims and the way they handled Elijah Moore was perfect. And I like how they're handling Zach. Like, I saw a few news clips today on the different, sports programming shows, and they're like, oh, Zach Wilson wasn't even active. I don't want him active. I like that move. Like, it's not a slight at Zach. It's, hey, go focus on what you need to focus on. This is the right move. I don't want Mike White to perform poorly and then have this whole, is Zach Wilson going to come back in? Is he your starter next week? No, let's deactivate Wilson, let him focus on his craft, and hopefully he can, get better.
I don't know if you remember, I called in several weeks ago. It was like my tinfoil hat theory was that Elijah Moore's whole problem was Zach Wilson. And and I'm telling you, that's exactly what it was. And I'm sure the coaching staff saw it. And, I can't remember I think it was Brady Quinn, actually. Brady Quinn said, the defensive guys, Mike White's been the third stringer, so he's been running the scout team. So the defensive guys after that, that press conference and the Patriots loss were probably like, this guy's been carving us up.
Yeah.
We're the best defense in the league. He's been carving us up in practice. We see Zach on Sunday, but we see this guy all week. Like, you got to put this guy in. And I know Salah saw that. And man, I'm excited for the rest of the season.
So am I, dude. I can't wait for this Minnesota game. I can't wait for the Bills game. I can't wait to see what we have in Mike White. Brother, you've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, let's see. I see Dev S2K dropping in with Super Chat. Thank you, dude. He says, I was at the game. I couldn't wait to go home. Clothes was soaked. Mike White, I am all in for. One game at a time was a fun one to witness. Yeah, dude, I give major props to the fans that went out and enjoyed that game in the rain. Like, I had the opportunity to go to a game. I was like, I'm going to stay inside. I'm not watching the potential of like Nathan Peterman and Mike White in the pouring rain. Like, I'll enjoy it from my couch. The fans that got to go to the game had a blast. You saw, like, I don't know if I'd call it a historic game, but it's a great game to watch. Like, between this and last year's Bengal game, you may have seen the blossoming of our young quarterback. And potentially our franchise quarterback, depending on how you feel about him. But, dude, I'm glad you were there representing the green and white. And I love seeing the videos from the stadium. MVP. Love it. Boys and girls, we've got time for one more call. So let's see who gets it in. You get 3 minutes on the clock. After 3 minutes, you get...
That's it! You're out of here!
That's right, you get ejected from the cockpit. Zachary Berner says, I was there at the game outside the whole time and I was soaked. That sucks. You gotta be wearing a poncho, my friend. Ugh. I've been to a bunch of Jet games in the rain and in the cold. We had season tickets for the year. We went 1-15. And the one win, I believe, was in Arizona, an away game. My dad and I sat through every game. I remember him just like buying me hot chocolate so I could like sit there so my hands weren't frozen solid. I was young. You're talking like 6 years old, I think.
From
was in.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to the cockpit.
From
Sorry, dude. Gotta listen to the phone, not to the show, because if you listen to the show, you're gonna be delayed. I had you. Oh, I see Chris from Florida's calling. Let's see if I can call him. See if I can do this. Oh, check this out.
from
Chris from Florida.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
Dude, I was literally just about to call you because I saw your missed call on the side over here, and as soon as I clicked your name to call, your call actually popped up. How you doing?
Everybody stand up! Get up, everybody, because Jets are playing meaningful football in December. Jets, 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 Jets. Ryan, let's go, baby. Talking about some Mike here.
Dude, feeling good. Talk to me. How you feeling about Mike White? Is he the franchise guy, or like what's your feel? What's the gut feeling right now?
I'm going to tell you the real honest truth, guys. Everybody hear me out. If anything, if I was Joe Douglas, but in Joe Douglas we trust, and in Saleh we trust, this would be the greatest signing for a backup quarterback for life, in my opinion. If Mike ever sees himself saying, "I want to be a part of this team," I don't see him as a starter. I don't. It's not anything to doubt on him, but we haven't had a great backup quarterback like this in so long since I can't remember his name. I can't, but I remember it was like early 2000s. But what it is to me is Mike White is that linchpin guy that says, "Hey, the guy that's supposed to be the guy isn't showing up right now. Let me revive," because that's what he does on the sidelines. He's supposed to help organize the defense, playing against a better scheme, playing our scheme that's supposed to be the best offense. I think Mike White is great, rejuvenizing all the players and everything. I love that the players are really bonded to him because, like a lot of people have said, Mike White had to earn his spot and work hard to get to this point, and the only reason I'm not trying to say, oh, he's not a franchise, and I'm not trying to be on the Zach Wilson train, but this is my thing. Everyone always keeps saying the same thing. Saleh did the right thing. Saleh did this right. We love how Saleh handled this. This is so much that fans have trusted the coach. We haven't trusted a coach in so long with the decisions they're making and the moves that they've made, and the fact that we've all agreed upon it and how it's led to this team to, yes, they've made a downhill, but then they come right back up and rising. So if Saleh believes, and also Joe Douglas believes, Zach Wilson needs some time and regrowth, great. I do still trust that if they feel that, hey, we made a mistake, this isn't the quarterback, they'll make that move. But if they see hey, this kid is the kid, I have no choice but with the results they've given me, trust in it. Yes, I know a lot of people are going to say, hey, you can't be a Zach Wilson. I'm not trying to trust Zach Wilson at this point. I'm trusting Saleh. I'm trusting Joe and Robert to lead my team and this franchise to success. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in this situation. We were a 4-winning team last year. Where are we now, dude? We are playing meaningful games, and I am going to that Miami game. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, we have doubled our wins every year since Robert Saleh has been here. Well, almost. We got to get one more win under our belt in the next 6 games. It's
absolutely.
I completely agree with your thought process because I was kind of saying similar things prior where it's like, hey, the higher ceiling is with Zach Wilson. I still believe that to be the case, but his floor is so astronomically low. And I believe Mike White can be the guy. I disagree where I think he could be a backup. I think if you're re-signing Mike White, it's for him to compete to be the starter at the very least. And then I don't know if you offered him purely backup money if he's going to come back. If you think a backup is all he is, I don't know if they re-sign him. I think they just go out and get Jimmy G and let Zach sit on the bench. I think that's more where I think it could go just because of the expiring contract of Mike White.
I can understand that 100%. I'm like I said, the main aim and focus of that point is I trust Saleh and Joe Douglas to make the right decision here. Because once we have our franchise player, our franchise quarterback, that they truly are going to go all the way, we see much more potential out of here. And the last thing I want to say is this, man. I'm going to that Miami game because I feel like that's going to be a linchpin game, whether it's the start of a great ending of the regular season and into the playoffs, or it's going to be the game that makes the decision for us. Either way, I'm going to that game, and if anyone finds a seat for me that we can party, drinks are on me for sure for that game. I'm telling you right now to all the fan base, anyone can find me a seat ticket with them, drinks are on me because we're going to go and we're going to kick some Tua Tagovailoa ass. Jets, Jets. Let's go.
I love it, Chris. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Chris brings the energy every time he calls in. The Miami game in Miami. I have family that lives on the west coast of Florida. Miami's obviously on the east coast of Florida, but I have family in Fort Lauderdale. Obviously real close there. So there is a little bit of a discussion going on with, could I be going down to the Miami game with Becca, with Shay? It's entirely possible. I don't know if it's likely or not. It might be a last second thing, but I'm looking forward to that game. I'm hoping that game is for the division, and I'm hoping, the Jets show out. I as much as I'm glad we beat Miami the first time, it was against their third string quarterback. I want to see them at full strength. I want to see them with our backup quarterback, and I want to punch them in the damn mouth. Boys and girls, I have absolutely loved talking to you guys tonight. It's been a very, very fun atmosphere with this team, having Mike White at the helm. And it's only just begun. Boys and girls, this is Jets Talk, signing off. Jets!